What is up, beautiful people? We are doing a quick little video. This is what I ran for Gen Con. So Gen Con was a lot more relaxing than it's ever been. We only had one Masters event, which made it really nice. I like that idea. I hate to say it. Like, we used to do like teams and multiple regionals. But I just want to hang out and just jam. Like, Fusion World's so much easier. So I like just one day at Dragon Ball Masters. But regardless, I got something in top 8. I don't know what I got. But whatever it was, I had a good time. Shout out to the only one who got me, which was Brian Samuel. He got me with that weird Nova list. It was fun. And then the rest was kind of generic. Like, I can't say I saw anything too wild or cool. It was just kind of like more of what you'd expect. I think the most fun I had was, I think, round 1 or 2. I sell Kamehameha at a blue player with 4 or 5 cards in hand and hit his SCR. And I was like, woohoo! I'm going to win this one. And I did. But yeah, so this is the deck. This is basically what I ran previously, but we kind of perfected the list. I still have to fix something in the deck because I'll talk about it, but like, we should just be running it like how you normally side. And with some of the interactions I found, I really like it. So that's what we'll focus on. Like I said, quick video, maybe in and out, 3 minutes. But so the important part about it is leader's still broken. He lets you search out for a time chamber at the start of the game. He's got 2 awakened conditions, one being normal life, and then of course the better one being when you've got this Goku in play. And then you get to filter. Now I think this is the best leader on the awakened side because you're going to filter 2 cards every single, you're going to combo a card and get rid of it. And then you're going to bottom deck a card to draw 2. This is really relevant because if you set things up on your turn, you're going to plus cards, but on defense, it feels great to get rid of cards that are no longer useful or situational. So we'll talk about them. Number one thing is, you can see in my list from the last regional, I dropped down to 1 Bulma. 9 cards is plenty for turn 1. And then if you're playing against certain stuff, you just drop it, right? Like Red Q or Kid Q, we just get rid of it because it's not as relevant. And then we only want to have a few in our deck, but mostly we cut the card. It's still a very good 1-drop, and if you go first, it doesn't feel bad. But going second into like if they play, Chaozu and you just lose your battle card, you feel pretty stupid. So other things to keep in mind is every single game I cited in these 3. The reason why is 3 energy is very hard to have on turn 3 because you need to have energy back for King Cold. So if you save your awakening, sure, you can play your 8-drop Gohan, swing with it, and then play this 8-drop for like a lot of aggression, okay? The reality of it is that's not how it works normally. What normally happens is the opposite. You need to keep back a Cell Kamehameha, and you want to play some amount of aggression. So what I like to do is just pop down this 8-drop. He swings, usually gets negated. Then you get to attack with somebody from your Hyperbolic Time Chamber, preferably like a Gohan, and that will combo for free. If that connects, your opponent will then discard a card from your 8-drop. Even if they play some sort of a mechanic like Deborah, it's okay, because we're then going to successor away our 8-drop and bring out this guy who's going to make them discard 2 cards, and we're going to swing with him. And he's a 35k double strike, which is just phenomenal. That'll let us keep back, 2 mana, which is always the goal. But one interaction I really liked throughout the tournament that I was trying to do, I was forcing too much. So I'll tell you about what it is, and you can see if there's a better way to do it. The biggest problem with the deck is it kind of needs a 1-drop with the current build because it's not easy to get to 8. You can get to 7 pretty frequently because you'll frequently have like a King Cold and a Goku. But getting to 8 for Successor is pretty problematic. So what I tried to do is run Cooler Armed Force. It's got Barrier. It's a strong card with the Z deck. The problem with the card, though, is it's very hard to just play one of these and have it survive anymore. It used to be you could drop one of these cards and no one would kill it, right? That doesn't happen anywhere near anymore. So Cooler would almost always come out or go down like a 1-of. And I think he's great as a 1-of because he is still amazing on turn 5. But turn 5, green's going to win anyway. Other things to keep in mind is that King Vegeta was phenomenal versus most decks. It did not work versus Brian Samuel, and was one of the reasons I did lose versus him, was he was just very aggressive. and I took, I think, 2 of my own life. Had I not taken, or I took 1 of my own life. Had I not taken that life, I think I would have been fine. But it let him be able to put a little too much aggression too fast. And I was on the play, so I was thinking, hey, I can afford to take it. I just didn't respect the deck. So, but the other thing to keep in mind is I really cut. I want to cut a few of these unweakened rages. I never want to have 4. I probably would say that like the better list would have 3 of these main, probably for like 2 of these coolers and a rage, and then maybe cut another rage for some other tech card. We got to find something. We're missing something in the format, and if I play this deck again, you're gonna need something, some sort of counterplay. So maybe focus breakthrough. It's time to like bring back just to like stop other people from playing their floodgates, or just mechanics in general that like stop you from playing the game. Like Heroes Prospect, somebody was playing that, and that shuts off my entire deck. The other thing to keep in mind that was really relevant was this SCR is still insane. This Bursting Rage is by far one of the best SCRs for Gohan. I think the reason why it's so great is into red, it lets you set up a very, very, very powerful turn 3 or turn 4 if your opponent has been aggressive. Because, obviously you get to go into the Z leader. This Z leader right here is very, very beautiful. But what makes him so great is you get to combo with a 1K for free, which means that if we drew our 1 of, you get to swing with this 8 drop and then make them crit a life automatically and go to 2 life. And if they explosive dance that attack, which red frequently will have to when they're at 3 life, you then get to go swing leader and then dump your entire hand. And that's frequently how you crack back and kill them, because it's not hard to be an aggressor on the Kid Q deck, right? Like that's the weakness of Kid Q, is that it really can just do explosive dance, and it's kind of weak to floodgates. So if you can floodgate Kid Q, you have a good chance of doing it. One of the scariest parts is I've been seeing a lot of Kid Q players play a fair amount of Brawly 1-drops. So, I kept up 2 energy one time because it's all I could do. I didn't want to awaken. I was just chilling. I was in a bad situation. I had King Colds. I knew they would die, but at least it'd buy me another turn. And sure enough, my opponent just goes swings attack. I'm able to King Cold, so I won that match. His plan was to go into like his 5-drop, which I had the body, so he couldn't kill me, so it didn't matter. But I kind of got lucky that like his line of plays weren't very good in my deck. But had he had Brawly Crown, I was dead because I had 3 super combos in hand. So if he just would have been like, and that's my biggest fear, and that's my biggest problem with the current format, is that Kid Q is so aggressive. If on your turn 3 you just have 3 energy up or 2 energy up, like whatever you're trying to do, probably 2. Say you have 2 energy up, and then for their turn they're just like Brawly 1-drop, and you're like, okay, Brawly 1-drop, okay, Brawly 1-drop, cool. Play a 20k, and then they just pass turn. You are so far behind at that point because you kept up 2 energy, and they were able to look at your hand, take 3 of your best cards, and they were able to put out a 20k for their following turn, right? Like they're not in a rush to kill you. That's what makes the red deck so good, is they're going to plus pretty regularly, and then they can kill you later. Like the Kid Q deck has so many tricks for 1 energy, like the Double Strike Z deck. So I got to figure out ways to beat that. I don't have one. So if you're playing the red Kid Q deck, I really recommend you focus on that. But for the green side, I think this is still the best green deck. I don't think other green decks are as viable, especially as we see people try stuff out with blue, and blue is always weak a little bit to Gohan. I did play against a Soul Striker deck. I brought in the King Vegeta's for it, and he was playing that new, it's either a TP or just a new card, I'm not sure what it is, but it's a Gohan who draws 2, and he can pay 1 energy to untap 2 at the end of his match or game. So effectively it's 4 mana for 2 back later and draw 2, and that was able to keep him in the game a little bit while I built a board. But it still felt really in control for me, especially because I knew at a certain point I was just bursting, play Gohan, swing, and kill my opponent. The biggest thing is, I think the flaw in my deck is I should be cutting 1 Cell Kamehameha or cutting something else that cost an energy, whether it be a King Cold, which scares me because it is a 5k. I really think you need 4 of this card. This card is insane. Your opponent has to have 3 energy. So this is what's relevant about this card, is that there's a few interactions that will happen where if your opponent ramps, you can play stuff like this guy on your turn too. You know, he says that if your opponent has 3 or more energy, and let's say you're using your awaken, so and you know they're ramping with some sort of effect, you can just be like, boom, 8-drop, swing, boom, 8-drop, swing. It's a lot of aggression, and it feels really good to catch up because it's so many cards. Besides that, though, it's just generic Gohan. When they ban this, I'll be in trouble, but till then, it's what I'm playing.